Now that we've talked about the concept of Civil 3D objects and their underlying data, you may be wondering how those objects are managed. Well, that's where the Prospector tab comes in. In this lesson, we'll learn how to use the Prospector tab to explore the Civil 3D objects in each drawing. On my screen is a proposed subdivision design. As you can see, we have alignments, we have parcels, we have a surface, and we have several point shots. Now, these items could be simple polylines and text. How do we know these are Civil 3D objects? Well, one way is to simply hover over them. If I hover over this alignment, it brings up a rollover tooltip showing me that it's an alignment. I can see the name of the alignment, the layer it's sitting on, as well as a rough station and offset measurement based on the location of my cursor. If I hover over a contour, I can see this is a surface. I can see the name of the surface, the layer it's sitting on, and a rough surface elevation based on the location of my cursor. If I hover over a point object, I can see this is a Kogo point as well as its associated data. As a side note, we can use this rollover tooltip as a means of querying the drawing. For example, let me drag this down. In this area, we have no contour labels. However, if I hover in between these contours, I can see a rough surface elevation, 742.46. Let me hover in between these, 741.39. Let me go here, 740. I'm obviously going downhill, even though I don't have the benefit of seeing contour labels. Note that the tooltip also includes station and offset measurements to any adjacent alignment. So what we see on screen is more than just simple graphics. These are Civil 3D objects that have data associated with them. So how is that data stored? Well, Civil 3D uses no external databases. If you create an object like an alignment or a surface or a parcel, that object and its data lives in the drawing in which it was created. Essentially, the DWG drawing file represents the database for those objects. So that begs the question, how can we determine what Civil 3D content is in each drawing? Well, that is what the Prospector tab is for. The Prospector tab is found here on the Tool Space palette. This is where you can find a listing of all of the Civil 3D objects that are in the current drawing. Now, because of the screen size, my tab's a little narrow. I'm going to click and hold on this right edge and we'll drag this out a touch. Before we get started, we want to make sure that we're looking at the active drawing view. If you're not, you can open the menu and select it right here. At the top of the Prospector tab, we'll find the name of the current drawing. And below, you'll find all the data in this file is organized into these logical categories. I'm going to hover over the points category. We can see there's 265 items in there. Another way we can identify there's data in a category is the display of this black dot icon. Whenever you see this icon, it means there's data in the category. Let me select the points category, and down here in the preview area, we can see a listing of all the points. Once again, because of screen size, I'm going to click and hold on this divider, and I'll drag it up to make the preview area a little larger. I can then drag this slider up and down to see a listing of all the points in the file. If I drag this slider left and right, I can see the associated data. In fact, if I hover over a specific point, I can see that data come up in the form of a rollover tooltip. Now, do we really need the Prospector? I mean, we can obviously see several of these points on screen. However, what if we had points that were on a layer that was turned off? The Prospector will show us all the data in a drawing, regardless of its display. So if you are looking for a particular item, the Prospector can give you the definitive answer if that object is in the drawing or not. Now, if you want to interact with the items on the Prospector tab, right-click on them. In fact, that goes for any of the tabs here in the tool space. For example, I'm going to right-click on point 19 and notice some of the items that we have in the menu. From here, I could edit this point, I could delete it, I could select it, I could lock it to prevent it from accidental changes, I could unlock it, export it, as well as several other things. Really nice feature we have is the Zoom To option. Using this option, Civil 3D will show us where that data is in the file. I'm going to select Zoom To, and we can see point number 19 is right here. Let's drag the point list down. I'm going to right-click on point 55 and choose Zoom To. And here's point 55 in the drawing. Now, the Zoom To option works for any of the data we find in Prospector. For example, I'm going to click to expand the surfaces category, and we can see that we have a single surface in this file called EG. If I choose the surfaces category, EG is listed down here in the preview area, just like one of the points. When I right-click, I get a menu that's associated with surfaces. In this menu, we'll find Zoom to. Let me click. And this is kind of anticlimactic. The surface actually fills up the entire screen. As a side note, we don't always have to right-click and get the menu down here in the preview area. If you want, many times we can right-click up here in the category list as well. This will also give us the same menu. I'm going to press Escape to close the menu, and let's expand the Alignments category. As you can see, alignments are further defined by type. I'm going to expand Centerline Alignments, and we can see that there are 2 alignments in this file. I'm going to right-click on Center Street, and I'll choose Zoom to. And Civil 3D centers that alignment on screen. So this is a great way to locate the data in your file. Just for a second, notice the additional icon next to these items. Whenever you see this icon, it means that this object has a dependency on another object, or vice versa. Another object is dependent on this one. That speaks to the automatic updating that we looked at earlier. Finally, we'll look at some parcels. I'm going to click to close the Alignments category. Parcels are associated with sites. Let me expand the Sites category, and then we'll look in the Subdivision Site. I'll click to expand the Parcels category, and right here we can see all of the parcels in this site. If I right-click on Parcel 32, for example, and choose Zoom to, Civil 3D takes me directly to that data in the file. As we progress through this title, we will continue to explore many of the features of the Prospector tab. For right now, consider this tab as being a one-stop shop to explore all the Civil 3D data in your drawing.